Howdy, this is Eric Wilkie. Thanks a ton for taking a look at this video and sort of working on getting this observation pilot off the ground. I know that anytime you move to a new EMR, there's always lots of headaches and difficulty and pain and like, how do you do this? And so this video, I'm going to just kind of run you through quickly how to put a note in on an observation patient. And then in the second half, we'll do kind of how do you process orders. So you can learn out like how do you enter the order, how do you put in the result, how do you mark it done, that sort of thing. And hopefully you'll realize that this is not too difficult, not too much of a challenge, and something that will make some intuitive sense. So anyways, here's the landing page. It's agh.tecdocapp.com, and that's app with two P's. And then from here you just put in your username and log in. All right, the first page that it comes to is the dashboard, what we call the dashboard, so you can kind of see volume curves. You can mouse over and sort of see the number of patients per day. If you need to look at other facilities, you can actually change the drop-down and look at any of the facilities. So if we want to say, all right, how busy is Levine right now, and hit the search, it'll bring up the Levine volume. You can change the date range if you'd like. And if you need to export the data to an Excel file to do an analysis on, there's an export button right here to get those data put out in a standard Excel format or a comma separated format. So anyways, if we need a chart on an OBS patient, we go right here to the icon that's got the chart and the pencil. So we simply click that, and that will take us to the dashboard. Here's some demo data, but it would look very much the same on the actual site. If we want to scroll down, I put in a test patient here. Here's test OBS. Here in this little blank spot, if you want to put them in a room, you can click right there and put them in a room. Let's say the patient is in room 3. We're going to kick out the current room. And so this will put our OBS patient into room 3. All right, so scroll up here. Here's our test OBS patient here with chest pain. They've been here for 9 minutes. It's a male who's 59 years of age. If you want to pass a note on to future teams, you can use this little pencil icon. So if there's a particular note, you can put in here, hit add comment. The note will then change from a kind of black and white color to a red color. So if this patient is on a pain management program or just any kind of special note, this is not part of the chart. It's only for communication with the team. You can use that. But if we're going to move forward with our documentation, we just simply click on the patient. And here's the patient, sort of a blank chart. So there's some key parts of the chart. So vitals, the tech notes, the medical history, nursing, orders, and disposition. This is on any chart. But if we want chest pain OBS specifically, I'm going to put in OBS on my filter. And I'm going to hit this drop down. And here's chest pain. So we're going to add chest pain OBS. And then I'm going to hit this little plus button. And that will then add it to the chart. And so here's our full chest pain observation chart. From a nursing standpoint, there are several things that probably can be skipped because it will already be in T-Systems or another documentation form. For example, triage. You're not going to need triage. Vitals can be entered here. They can also be entered in the vitals tab that's always there. And then for adding nurses' notes, you can simply put in things right here. You could say, for example, well, since we're doing flu and COVID and everything else, we can click nasal swab was added. You can put anything you want. This can be free text, or it can be part of these memorized lists. You can click now, and then you hit the plus button, and that'll add the comment for the nurse's note. The physician works much the same. If we click over here on the OBS chest pain, here's a reminder to activate the OBS order set, and there's some inclusion and exclusion criteria. So to be placed into OBS for chest pain, you have to have at least one of these things set. So we're going to say, let's say our heart score was moderate. Exclusion criteria, it says all must be answered no. To make these no, I'm going to click it once for yes, click it a second time for no. If you click it a third time, it'll actually put it back into the neutral state, but we're going to say no unstable vital signs. The patient is not going to get a rapid rule out. The patient does not have an EKG suspicious for MI, etc. So all of these are going to be negative. There has to be a specific history for observation. You can't use the same history in the T-chart. This has to be redone. This is an insurance company requirement, specifically Blue Cross Blue Shield. So you put in a brief history, can be dictated or typed. There has to be, again, an independent exam for observation. We sort of have a minimum standard exam, so this can come in and you can change or delete any part of this. This is just free text. There's an observation plan that talks about serial troponins and serial EKGs, that sort of thing. Again, this can be changed. It's just free text. You can dictate over it. The goal is that we're going to get serial EKGs and troponins. And then here's the observation course, where as a physician you can type in, just like on the nurse's side, a brief sentence. So you can say, chest pain, repeat EKG is unchanged now, and then we're going to add that to it. So typically 1 note per hour is a requirement from some of the insurance companies and some good practice. So just putting in brief notes every hour to kind of talk about treatment and progression and that sort of thing. And then when it's time to dispo the patient, there's criteria for home, and then there's criteria for either admission or transfer. So for home, all must be present. So you have to say acceptable vital signs, normal biomarkers. The EKG does not suggest ongoing ischemia. And then provocative testing has been arranged. So all those can be yes, and then we can say no for progressive symptoms. There's no unstable vital signs. Troponin was not positive, etc. You can then set the disposition location, so discharge. And then it's very important to set for when the time the patient left OBS, and that's when the decision was made that the patient no longer requires OBS, even though they still may be in the department moving forward. This is the point when you've decided, okay, they no longer need to be in OBS, so you can set that to now or set it to any other time that you need. And that's basically the principles of documenting an observation stay. So hopefully it's pretty straightforward. Under the medical history, again, I know I don't want you have to do a lot of repeat work. Some of this will probably already be in T-system, but if you want to put some things in that are very important, like an allergy, let's say, for example, this patient has an aspirin allergy, which would be very important for a chest pain chart. So I can add in aspirin and hit our plus button. There's some other things like a pharmacy, past medical and surgical history, etc. So again, if you think it's important or would like to include that in this as well, feel free. Again, I'm not wanting you to do a lot of duplicate work, but certain key things may be important, for example, like the allergies and or some medications. For disposition, you can click on the disposition. Again, let's say this patient had chest pain. I'm going to type in chest pain and select that. This has some drop downs that need to be answered from the physician. So the location, let's say retrosternal, this was non-exertional and it did not have dyspnea. That makes an ICD-10 friendly diagnosis. There are instructions for home and a description, when to return to ER. All these can be edited or changed. Again, just simply free text. You have to select a disposition location and condition at discharge. If, for example, you're going to transfer the patient and you need an MOT, when you click transfer to hospital, there is a section to fill out an MOT. This will create a PDF. You can say print MOT and it'll print a PDF for you. So hopefully that can save you a little time and hassle. You need to select a follow-up. Let's go to cardiology. We want to follow up in 1 to 2 days. I'm going to select this group right here and add them in. So there's the follow-up, and once that is complete, so once follow-up is complete, disposition, discharge condition, and diagnosis is all in, you can then come up and select the patient ready for discharge. If you select this patient ready for discharge, it'll turn the background on the tracking board yellow, meaning this patient's ready to go. Now, that's just the documentation piece. Let's now move over to the orders. So if you want to put in the observation order set, you click on this little syringe icon. The other icons right here, if you need to upload a document, if there's a scanned document or you take a picture using a laptop or phone that's using our charting system, you can add a document here. You can also take a photo. This records audio with the patient or just any audio you want. We typically like to use this at discharge where you're discussing the diagnosis and plan with the patient, and the patient is allowed to answer questions and give some feedback, and all that's recorded as part of the chart. But again, orders are here with syringe. We just simply click on that button, and here's a list of common orders, but you can go on the order filter and find anything we need. I'm going to say OBS chest pain. And when I click that, it's going to add several different things, like notify physicians, some, again, test frequency of vital signs, etc. If there's something that you don't want, say, for example, I don't want this patient to get morphine as needed, so I'm going to take that one out. You just click the X, and then you click on Add Orders, and those orders are now in. You can search for radiology, medications, and nursing by going to these different tabs and just typing a search down here in the order filter to find what you need. To process orders, that's simply placing them. To process orders, so let's say, for example, we want to document that we gave the aspirin. So you can see right here there's a check mark, again, a little charting icon and an X. So let's say, hey, this patient is allergic to aspirin, so I'm not going to give aspirin. I'm going to click the X button right here, and it's going to say basically here's some saved comments. Why are we not giving aspirin? I'm going to say patient allergic, and then hit OK. So that is now canceled. If we start an order, for example, we started this vital signs every 2 hours, I'm just going to hit the check mark. Okay, that's now, it's not complete, but it's ongoing, it's ready in place. IV placement, I'm going to click the charting icon here, and I can say I put this in the left AC, and it was an 18 gauge. Blood was drawn. A saline lock was applied, tegaderm, etc., IV secured. All that has been complete. Sorry if I can click it. And then right here, here's an order completed. If I don't click that, the order will stay open so you can continue to document as needed. But in this case, this IV is done. I'm going to hit save. And so that now is a completed order. If there's something that you need to put additional information on, feel free. I'm going to regular diet we've done. The patient was placed on pulse oximetry. They were placed in OBS. I'm going to complete that order. There's nothing to do for that. And that's pretty much processing orders. I'm going to add in a troponin quickly so you can see what it's like to enter in results. Putting in results can be, again, I don't want it to be overly time consuming, but putting in discrete information can be very helpful from a medical legal standpoint. I know in the past a lot of people just use the little printed strip, but a lot of times that does not get into the chart, and so if you can find the time and if it's easy enough, it would be something I think very helpful overall. So right here, here's the troponin. So let's say we run it on the machine and we get the result and we want to put it in. Again, we can click this charting icon. And blood was obtained at IV start. And then we simply put in the value, 0.001. order is complete, and we can hit save. There's a variety of things. Again, while it's important to put in the orders if we can, for example, we've got criticals, so if there's a critical flag, will be in the chart and documented. The physician turns it a funny color so that makes it hard to miss. So again, if it's something that you can accomplish by putting in the results, that can be very, very helpful. Anyways, that's a quick run through. Hopefully this is not too much of a headache for you. I appreciate, again, your willingness to use this to get our observation off the ground and moving forward. Please reach out if you have any questions. Again, also you can call any of our nursing or tech crew and the Texas shops have been using this for a number of years. So if you just want to be like, hey, how do I do whatever, feel free to call them. We can get you those numbers. Obviously they're 24/7, so they would be a resource at any time. Thanks, and I'm curious to see how it goes.